Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 28 of the Wild Eye Diaries. I'm very happy to say that seasons have changed for the better here in South Africa, from what was quite a cold winter into what is a lovely spring. And I hope that all of you watching this can say the same thing regarding your weather conditions back home. And the update in this particular episode is that we have 3 guides out in the field currently hosting safaris. Gerry's not in the country, he's not hosting a safari. Marlon, myself, and Alistair are in office, but we'll all be making our way out shortly. But to get started with this week's episode, let's hear from the guys that are currently out in the field. Firstly, we'll be hearing from Trevor, who is currently hosting a privately guided safari in the Timbavati, a bit further north in South Africa, very close to the Kruger National Park, adjacent to the Kruger National Park, in fact. Andrew and Johan, they still in Kenya hosting the Great Migration Safari, and they're going to be giving us an update as to how their past 2 weeks have went, the things they've been seeing, and their thoughts on this particular season. We'll then be hearing from Alistair, who gives us an update as to what his thoughts were regarding his 2 weeks in Kenya hosting the Great Migration Safari alongside Marlon de Toy. He'll also be sharing what he's looking forward to the next time he heads back into Kenya to host one of these weeks. And he also just gives us a short update as to what his plans are in office prior to his next safari. We'll then be hearing from Marlon de Toy, and he's going to be chatting about how incredible the Masai Mara is, and also tempering expectations, or your expectations, when you decide to visit the Masai Mara one day. And he's also going to give a short little update and some thoughts to photographic competitions. And then finally, we're going to hear from Gerry van der Walt, who is currently in New York City. And like I mentioned, he is not hosting a safari, but he's telling us a little bit of where he was, where he is, and where he's going, and what his plans are going to be for the next 2 weeks regarding social media. So it's quite interesting. It's going to be a good update this week. I hope you will enjoy it, and I will see you soon.
Hello everyone, hope that you have had a good week so far. And yeah, crazy to think it's another week gone by and it's the diaries already. But this week I am in the Timbavati. I'm currently hosting a 5-night private photographic safari at Kembaku Lodge in the Timbavati. We are 2 nights into our stay and it has been absolutely incredible so far. Lodge, beautiful, nice and relaxed, small lodge, 8 rooms, so very intimate, very personal attention, which is great. Lodge itself, so this is my room, this is my view at the moment. There is, I know it's a bit bright, there's a waterhole out there. So during the day it's nice to just sit and relax and see what comes down to drink. We've had warthogs, impalas, kudu, a variety of birds come down and drink, so nice and relaxing just to see what comes down. In terms of game drives, we've had an incredible start. We've had a variety of nice sightings so far. We've seen leopard twice. We saw the same female twice. The first afternoon we headed out, and just before sunset we were with this leopard who had a kill up in a tree, so we watched her feeding a little bit, and then once she finished up feeding, she went and lay on a branch and posed quite beautifully for us, so very, very fortunate for that. And yesterday afternoon we had quite a memorable afternoon. Over a short period of time, late afternoon as it started cooling down, we were following 2 lionesses, which was incredible. They were walking past the car, offered some great photographic opportunities, and while following them we bumped into a nice big bull elephant, who also he was a little bit uneasy, not because of us, but I think because he could smell the lions in the area, and he moved off. Then we found the lionesses again, and they actually had the one lioness has 2 little cubs that are about 8 weeks old, so 2 months. Not great in terms of a photographic opportunity, but as an experience it was just absolutely incredible. Sitting there, very dense vegetation, we could see them through through the thick vegetation, moving around and jumping on mom. And the other lioness, I mean, the setting was just incredible. Sky, beautiful color, lioness with cubs in the thicket, and to the side of us we were parked in a riverbed. The other lioness was lying out in the open, so really, really memorable. And after that we continued on our drive. We wanted to leave them before it was dark. You don't want to impact on the cubs, don't want to shine the spotlight on them, they're still very, very young. So we continued on with drive, and we came across a leopard, and it's the same leopard that we saw the first night, but very different situation. So it allowed us to practice a bit of spotlight photography, get some unique shots. We followed her around, similar to the lion. She would walk past the car, and yeah, so relaxed, and it's such a privilege to be able to view these animals so close and not have an impact. And I think it's just incredible the relationship that the guides over many years have built with these animals, and the trust factor that comes into it. So very, very special. This morning we left a little bit earlier. As you can see, I didn't actually dress too well. I've got Lumo socks on, but we woke up at about I woke up 4:30, and we headed out on drive just after 5. So when it was still dark, we wanted to get the sun coming up. And we headed out, and just as it was getting light, we came across 2 rhinos that were feeding. Once again, not great in terms of a photograph, but just sitting there quietly, listening to them feeding, not too far from the car. Absolutely incredible. So we're very lucky to have that. We then moved on to a hyena den, which was also very, very special. Very, very small hyenas playing on the mound, and while we were sitting there we watched the sun come up. So incredible way to start the day. We spent about an hour with the hyenas, only vehicle there, so very, very special, nice and intimate. We then decided to head to a waterhole where we stopped, had some coffee, reminisced over the sighting that we had not only this morning but the last 2 days. Got some nice photographs of a hippo in the water. And then continued, and the whole thing about this morning was not to, and it's been over the last couple of days, but not to rush around, have high expectations and want to see specific animals at specific times, but rather just to embrace the bush and take whatever the bush is willing to offer us. And it's worked out really, really well for us. We came across another waterhole as it started getting relatively warm, and decided just to sit there and see what came down to drink. So we actually sat just next to the vehicle in the shade, and we had zebras come down to drink on the opposite bank, which allowed some great unique photographs of them. Some monkeys came down to drink, variety of birds, and a nice big herd of impala. And we must have sat there for an hour, if not more. And that's what's really great about doing private safaris like this, is that you can focus on specific things. You can spend as much time as you like with specific animals. And it's not every day, for myself, having been a guide, that you allow the opportunity just to sit with some of the smaller things. You know, there's so much emphasis on the big animals and the big 5 and lions and leopards and elephants, and you tend to race around after that, and you often overlook the smaller things, which are just as important. So very, very nice to have the opportunity just to sit back and relax and enjoy being out in the bush, listening to the sounds, having different species come down and drink water, and just really enjoy being out in the bush and being one with nature. So yeah, absolutely incredible start to the safari. And yeah, I look forward to the next few days. We're not even halfway yet, and we've seen plenty. But for now, I'm going to head off to breakfast. It's nice and hot. Go work on some photographs with my guests afterwards. And yeah, hope that you all have a wonderful week ahead and that you have a great weekend. For now, I'm going to say cheers. Bye, guys.
Hi. So those are the resident hippos. So as you can see, we're literally on the banks of the Mara River here. Johan and I have been up here for the last 2 weeks hosting great migration safaris. And we've had some good stuff. The last week was fairly quiet.
Yeah, it was hard work, very difficult. But I think we spoke about it sort of during the week. I think what's been saving us has been the amount of predators that we've had around camp. I mean, even just like the last few days on our access road, having prior to started off as 3 and then all of a sudden 5.
They seem to be coming out of the woodwork at the moment, everywhere.
I'd love to know the dynamics of these lions. One day it's 2, one day it's 4, then it's 5, then it's new males. So it's been a good predator-wise, yeah.
And for the last 2 weeks, we have also seen, what's that well-known lion, the guy with the big mane, he's got a funny eye.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen photos of him. I'm not sure what his name is. Maybe you guys can help us out.
So Scar is back on the Mara Triangle side of the river. We've been quite fortunate to see him on a couple of occasions over the last 2 weeks. And today, we're recording this on Thursday, he's actually very close to the Serena area on a kill with a wildebeest. And so we're hoping for some good stuff there this afternoon. I can tell you what, he's a difficult lion to photograph. He doesn't make it easy. He's always got his head down and doesn't like to show himself.
No, it's been very difficult. We've had a few sightings of him, but as you said, nothing photographic. Big herds coming and going as well, moving. For those of you that have been here, moving between the main crossing points, Peninsula, Lookout, but not crossing the river just yet.
No, they're also keeping us on our toes, much like Scar, keeping us working. But I think one of the things that's been good over the last 2 weeks is, even though we haven't had those massive crossings or any crossings, is that we've been able to get solid photography in. And I think the other thing that's also come to the fore is just how our Great Migration safaris are a little bit more than just the wildlife experience, and the guys in camp and guests being able to spend time.
Magic.
We also had, for the first time, a couple getting married here in the Mara last week, and that was incredible, very special for them. And so again, the staff have just come to the fore and been an absolute highlight in their own rights. And we always say how guests come here for the wildlife for the first time, and they return for the people.
Absolutely.
And so we've got a couple of guests here now who are cheapers. I think one of the guests has been coming here for 2 weeks every year for the last 5 years. The other guests have been here multiple times in the last 3 weeks, and then a whole bunch of first timers as well. South African guests who, from a wildlife and game viewing perspective,
blown away. Absolutely blown away. I mean, being used to, and no disrespect to the reserves in South Africa, but it's just a whole nother ball game. Driving past lions, it's literally a case if they're not hunting, mating, or eating, basically driving past them. So it's been absolutely phenomenal once again.
So we've got a couple more days up here. What's your next trip?
Kruger, end of the month, 21st to 26th, and you pretty much on the road straight from here.
A night in Joburg, and then heading up to Mana Pools for a private safari. We're going to be doing 3 nights at Chitaki Springs, where you had some incredible stuff last month.
Very jealous about that one.
It's a special place. And then 5 nights on the actual floodplain of Mana Pools. So really looking forward to it. Lots on the go, and for now, back to Mike.
Awesome. Catch up with you guys next time.
Cheers.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wild Eye Diaries, hosted by Mike. My insert this week is basically just wrapping up on what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we are slap bang in the middle of our very busy migration season, and if you follow either myself or Marlon, you would know that we've been back for about 10 days now from an unbelievable 2-week trip to our Mara camp, and we actually couldn't have timed the migration any better. I think we had 8 crossings in the first week and 9 crossings in the second week, a total of 17 crossings in a 2-week period, which was unbelievable. And the nice thing about the crossings is that they were relatively spaced out, and every single one more dramatic, more dusty, more loud, more chaotic than the last. So we were really, really lucky in terms of our wildebeest crossings, which of course pleased the guests that pretty much come for that experience. But it's also important to note that the Mara Triangle is a lot more than just the crossings. Obviously, it's important to try and get crossings if the wildebeest are around. There's not much we can do about it if they aren't. But it's also important to explore the rest of the Mara Triangle. It is such a beautiful place, and it is so dynamic. And we were lucky enough, because of the spacing of the crossings over the 2 weeks, to really get out and explore the rest of the triangle. Guests were well positioned to photograph lions hunting. In fact, in one particular sighting, there were 4 different lionesses that made 8 different kills in a space of just under an hour. and all of our Wild Eye vehicles were perfectly positioned for the guests to get some shots and some videos of that pretty unique interaction. I've certainly never seen kills like that before, and for a lot of our guests it was their first time to see kills like that, but to see it with such frequency in such a short period of time is pretty amazing. So we really enjoyed some unbelievable sightings of lions, lion prides, male lion coalitions, female cheetah, coalitions of male cheetah, leopards, one big male in particular, and another female and her young cub. And of course, everything else that the Mara has to offer in terms of hyenas and jackals and giraffe and the general plains game, elephants, etc. So it's really important to get out and explore the rest of the triangle, which we did. We managed to find Scar, for those of you who have been asking. We found him in our first week, although being the old boy that he is, he was in and out of the long grass sleeping. And then he disappeared onto the National Reserve side for a couple of weeks, and so we didn't get to see him. But if you have been following both Johan and Andrew's stories who are there at the moment, they've been quite lucky with a few pretty good Scar sightings over the last couple of days. And yeah, that was it. So Marlon and I really had an unbelievable time. Guests were really, really happy. And of course, they left with a series of incredible images, great videos, and the memories then to live by. And we are currently busy. In fact, we're about 80 to 85% finished on a trip report that Marlon and I had from about the 20th to the 26th of August. And we're just adding 1 or 2 more images and finishing off on a few things. That should go live in about the next 2 or 3 days. So if you're listening to this insert right now and you want to know more about what it was like and see some of the videos and images that Marlon and I took amongst some of the other guests, then it's really important that you go and check out that trip report that'll be live in the next couple of days. So I'll let you know when it's live, and by all means go and check it out. So we've spent the last week or so in the office, finishing up towards the end of this week. I'm hosting a digital photography course on Saturday. It'll actually be the first one that's going to be hosted in our brand new offices. And so making history, as it were, in that sense. I'm really looking forward to that. And then 1 more week in office next week, wrapping up on a few last minute things. And then I head back to the Masai Mara for another 2-week period, back to back. The first week with Grant and Jono, and the second week with myself and Gerry. So really looking forward to getting back to the Masai Mara, and more than just seeing the sightings, and hopefully we get a few more crossings as well. I'm really just keen to get back and see our Masai staff. They really make that experience so incredibly special for both us and our guests, of course. So that's going to be me, and I'm actually just sitting in my home study at the moment, just looking at the rest of the year. I kind of go for a 2-week period for the Great Migration. I'm back in about the 2nd of October, and then I head off to Botswana, where I host the Best of Botswana Safari, which starts on the 7th and runs all the way until the 22nd of October. That's quite a nice long safari, a mobile tented camp. For those of you that are interested in the Best of Botswana for 2019, the dates are available, and you're welcome to get in touch with me. And then after that, I'm really looking forward to getting back to Londolozi, where I used to work on a private in November, and then wrapping up the end of the year with a few Madikwe safaris. So really a couple of big safaris coming up to finish off the year. And as I said, prime time migration season and safari season for the rest of us in the team. And yeah, thanks again for following along, and stay tuned for more action. Cheers for now.
Hi everybody. So in a rare occurrence, I'm actually in the office for a couple of weeks, which has been good. Allow me to catch up on some emails, some work, plan some safaris even into 2020, and get ready for my next trip to Brazil's Pantanal. But I'll chat more about that to you in the coming week. What I wanted to share with you is a great experience that we've just had in the Masai Mara. Alistair and I hosted a couple of weeks up there during the last couple of weeks of August, and we enjoyed incredible migration action. I think our timing was perfect because as we got there, the herds were starting to build, and then the following 10 days we saw numerous crossings. I think about 20 or very close to 20 crossings throughout that 10-day period, and beautiful crossings that hadn't rained. And so the dust was very, very evident in every crossing, which is something you don't see that often. I've had a bit of a bad run in terms of the dusty crossings over the last few years, and always had to sit back and envy what the other guys were shooting in terms of just the dust billowing up from the hooves of the wildebeest as they run through down into the river and up the other side. And this year we just, our timing was perfect, and it just worked out Couldn't have worked out any better than what we experienced. What I did want to also mention though is we've had a couple of weeks where things didn't quite go the way of guests in terms of crossings or number of crossings or epic dramatic crossings, and it really is something to give some attention to. If you have intentions of coming out to the Great Migration, let me start off by saying that it's one of the best things to see and experience. Few things in nature can be as dramatic as that. Few things can compare to the absolute spectacle that these wildebeests put up for us. From the numbers, to see thousands upon thousands on the open plains, to see them coming down to the river, the actual crossing action, the predators that prey on the wildebeest during their time in the triangle. It's from lions to leopards to crocodiles. The whole spectacle is an incredible sight. But they don't do that every single day. They don't run through the river every single day. They don't get killed by lions all day long. So there's still a safari where you got to come up and have realistic expectations. Sometimes people see what, thinking about the event being televised. If you think of any National Geographic, BBC, Animal Planet, whatever it is that you watch, if you think of the documentaries that you would have seen on there, it always documents the migration in this full spectacle, just tens of thousands of animals running through the river, dust everywhere, crocodiles, lions, and it sets the bar very high. It sets your expectations very high. You also follow myself and Al and Gerry and everyone on Instagram, and there you also get to see what we see. But you have to remember, it's still nature, and it still presents a challenge in that way, because we can't control it. We have no idea exactly when these things are going to approach the river to cross, or when the lions are going to hunt. So it is a bit of a challenge, and if you, as long as you come up with an open mind and come expecting nature to give you whatever it can, you can rest assured that the Wild Eye guys, the team, our camp staff, the guides, all of them will do their utmost best. That's what we're there for. We're not there for our photographs. We're there to make sure that you get the best experience possible. So that'll be taken care of. But more than that, we can't control nature, as you very well know. So if you've never been to the migration, if you've never seen that kind of action, then you have to get on board. You have to book a trip and come join us next year. Join us in 2020. The rates and dates are on our website. So it's there, bookable. You can go see. There is no best time. Many people ask, when is the exact time? When should I be there? August, September is fantastic, but it can change 1 week to the next. It just depends on those wildebeests and what they get up to. So there is no one single best time to book. But definitely come and experience it. If you have been, come back again. Like I said, the first 3 or 4 years of me visiting the Mara, I never saw a dusty crossing, like ever. I saw some great crossings, but it had all been during the rains or heavy rains. And this year I got only dusty crossings. And so every year is different, and it adds a new dynamic to your portfolio of the Mara and the whole experience. So come and visit us, chat to us, get a realistic idea of what it's about and what you're in for. But what I can tell you is that our camp is incredible. Our staff, you can't beat it, you can't fault them. Best there is. And then, the guides, both the guys who drive with us, they've been there for 6 or 7 years. And then us, we always do our very best to give you the best migration safari experience on offer. So come and join us, come and enjoy this amazing spectacle with us. And I'm glad that I could share some thoughts and insights into how it works and what to expect. Guys, another topic I wanted to discuss with you and just to share more of my thoughts about is photographic competitions. As you well know, it's time for probably the biggest competition of the year, the Natural History Awards, the BBC Wildlife Photographer of the Year. It's an epic competition, unbelievable. To be honest, I have entered it in the past a few years ago, obviously didn't win, but it's kind of the highest pedigree that a wildlife photographer can reach to achieve. And we often get asked, do we enter, do we submit images? And the honest answer is not currently. We try and give our guests an opportunity. It's pretty much a sentiment that we all share as guides within Wild Eye, is to have our guests enter above us. I think it's unfair if we're in the same sighting as guests. We might walk away with a better image. If we both enter guide and guest, I think I know who's going to win. No offense. I mean, some of our guests have magnificent shots, but you know, the guides are experienced and they spend a lot of time out there. So we don't want to be competing with our guests. Which brings me back to the Mara and what I discussed earlier about how incredible it is for those guests who have joined us. There is an exciting competition in the Mara where you can enter, and in fact, one of our guests have won twice. So how this Angama and Mara Triangle competition works, the short of it is that there's a monthly winner. So you submit, every month they choose a winner, and that winner, each of the months will be drawn at the end, 12 images competing against each other. The guest will win $10,000 in a 5-night stay at Angama, and the guide who guided the guest will win a vehicle. Like, how cool is that? So once again, we're not going to enter that competition. We got no intentions of winning that at all, but we'd love for you guys to enter. So it is an exciting way to get your name out there and maybe win a 6-day stay in the Mara and a bit of extra cash, which you can use to come back to Wild Eye next year and come and spend it on another migration safari. But it's just a great way to build your portfolio and maybe get a competition win under your belt. Not that that's what it's about, but it's exciting to see your photographs featured. So we don't enter purely for the reason that we want you guys to have a chance, a fair chance, and take that opportunity, enter, get your images out there. We'd love to see you guys winning. And like I said earlier, we're already 2 months down the Wild Eye guests that have won. So yeah, fantastic news. Get entering, guys. I'll share details at the end of the slip.
So, hey everybody, my name's Gerry, I'm from Wild Eye, and I haven't been on the diaries too much the last while. It's, number one, I'm in New York, it is hot as hell. I love the city, but bloody hell, it's hot. I literally just finished up our Great Bear Rainforest expedition up in BC, and if you haven't heard of it, go and check it out. Great Bear Rainforest, it is probably one of the most beautiful pieces of coastline in the world, and to me, rivals Svalbard for just overwhelming splendor. Beautiful place. And I was there for 10 days hosting the trip. I'm not going to spend too much time now with it. And it was amazing. I mean, reaching whales, grizzlies, it has been... Photographically, it was awesome, but to me it goes deeper. It's the quality of time spent in something like that and really getting to know people getting to know themselves, which to me is always amazing to see and a very cool thing. From there, I spent the day in Toronto, meeting up with people from Instagram, people who want to do trips and such. I'm now in New York, like I said, yeah, sitting here just taking a break. I had lunch with Dennis, client of ours, 3-hour lunch. It was amazing, thanks Dennis. Met with Laurie, who booked a private guided trip for next year. We've never really met, but I was in here, so we took the time to meet up and just discuss the trip and kind of any questions you might have. The best thing to me always, let me be walking here. See, when I sit still, it gets too hot. The best thing about meeting people for the first time, and I've heard this a couple of times, and it's probably the biggest compliment, is whatever people see on Instagram is what they get in real life. That to me means a lot. So this is me. This is what I am. This is what I do. And I think it goes the same for all the guys as well. So yeah, Laurie, it was great meeting. And our Masai Mara Sabi trips next year is going to be amazing. For now, I will be sharing a lot of podcasts coming up in due course. The amount of ideas, and there's a couple of recurring themes for me on safaris the last while. Patience, why do we do what we do? Why do we worry about getting judged? Expectations, chasing the one shot. There's so many of these things that come up again and again and again. And I need to just make the time to actually go deeper on this and to share some thoughts. I'm gonna try and record a few podcasts now in the next 2 days while I'm in New York. And then, so on Friday, when you guys are watching this, I'm going offline for 2 weeks. I'm going completely dark. Won't be sharing a single thing on any platform. I won't be commenting or doing anything. I'm off to Turkey with Adele for 2 weeks. It's kind of like a first holiday in a very long time. So I'm looking forward to that. Meeting quite a few clients there, but they've also become friends, so that's pretty nice. I think that's what I have for you for now, hey? It's, what day is it? Wednesday for me here. Like I said, it's hot as hell, check. Holy shit. One more meeting for today, 3 more for tomorrow, then off to Turkey. I am probably going to go for a run in Central Park later on. And that's me. So I will chat to you guys on the diaries in about 2.5 weeks' time. I'm only going to be in Joburg for 2 nights before I go to Kenya, Madagascar, but I'll be back sharing full-time then. One of the reasons why I also want to take a break, apart from just needing it and wanting it, I find what's happening on social in our industry right now very boring. There's very similar content everywhere. Everybody's doing the same stories, everybody's doing the same posts. People are copying what we're doing. So I just want to kind of go and do a bit of a refresh and a reset and yeah, come back with a bang when I'm back from Turkey. So almost at my hotel, I'm going to send out a few emails, run in the park, and then back to work. Anyway, thanks for the following, guys. I appreciate all the comments and stuff on Instagram, and I will see you all when I'm back from Turkey. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye. Have a good one. Bye.
And that's it for episode 28 of the Wild Eye Diaries. I hope you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have been putting it together. And yes, I'm wrapping up in office today. I fly out of South Africa on Monday up to Kenya alongside Grant Marcus, and Trevor meets us there the following day. We are hosting Great Migration Safari up in the Masai Mara, so my next update will be from there. And yeah, I look forward to it, and I hope that you all have a lovely weekend. Have a good one. Cheers for now.